When I picked up my new credit card, the banker said, "We've restored your credit limit to what it was before the bankruptcy, but I've never filed for bankruptcy." I stood there at the counter and just stared at her. "I'm sorry? Before the what?" She looked down at her screen with a polite customer service smile. "Before the Chapter 7 filing, June of 2019. We restored you to your previous limit as a courtesy since your account is now back in good standing. June 2019. I was at my sister's wedding in Portugal in June 2019. I've never filed for bankruptcy," I said. "Not in 2019? Not ever." Her smile stayed on, but her eyes shifted. "Sir, it's right here in your file." Then someone put it there, because it wasn't me. She excused herself and disappeared through a door behind her. I stood at that counter for 6 minutes, which felt like 6 hours. When she came back, the branch manager was with her, a compact, serious man named Walter, who shook my hand like he was apologizing with his grip. "Mr. Okafor," Walter said quietly, "I think we should step into my office." I knew right then that this was bigger than a data entry error. Walter pulled up my full credit profile on his screen and turned the monitor toward me. The bankruptcy was there. Court filing number, attorney of record, discharge date, the whole thing. It looked completely real. My name, my social security number, my old address on Fenwick Street where I lived until 2018. "I've never hired a bankruptcy attorney in my life," I said. "I moved off Fenwick Street before this supposedly happened. Pull the discharge paperwork. My signature will be on it. Compare it to anything I've signed today." Walter was already on his phone. He stepped out, and I sat in that office alone, my heart doing something unpleasant in my chest. I started thinking. Someone had filed bankruptcy in my name, used my social security number, used my old address so the paperwork would never reach me. And then what? Walked away from my credit history? Unless it wasn't random. I pulled out my phone and searched my old Fenwick address in my email. One result came up. A mail forwarding confirmation from the post office, dated May 2019, redirecting my mail to a P.O. box I had never set up. Someone had rerouted my mail before filing. The court notices, the attorney letters, the discharge papers. None of it ever reached me. Whoever did this had planned it carefully enough to make sure I'd never find out. That should have narrowed down my list of suspects. It didn't. Because the only person who knew I was moving off Fenwick Street before I told anyone else was my brother Deal. I'd only told Del because I needed help moving boxes and he had a truck. 4 months before the supposed bankruptcy filing, I sat in Walter's office with that thought sitting on my chest like something heavy and cold. Walter came back 20 minutes later. He'd pulled the original filing documents and set them in front of me, pointing to the signature line. It was close. I'll give Deal that. He'd practiced. But the loop on my capital O has always broken at the top, a quirk my 4th grade teacher used to correct me for. The signature on the document didn't have it. The loop was closed. Perfect. Deal had copied my signature from something, but not something he'd watched me sign in person. Then I remembered. 2 years before the filing, I'd asked Dally to notarize a lease agreement because he worked at a law office. He'd kept a copy. I sat very still for a moment. "I need to file a police report," I told Walter. "And I need every document related to this filing." Walter printed everything without asking why. I called Dele on my way to the police station. He answered on the second ring, easy and relaxed, the way he always sounds. "Hey, what's up?" "I'm picking up my new credit card," I said. "The banker mentioned something interesting." A pause. Half a second too long. "Oh yeah? What's that?" "She mentioned the bankruptcy." Silence. Then, "What bankruptcy?" And that was it. That one question told me everything. Because the correct response, the response of any innocent person, would have been confusion. "What are you talking about? What do you mean?" Not "what bankruptcy," which is an answer that already knows there is one. I didn't say anything else. I just hung up. I filed the report that afternoon, provided the documents, the mail forwarding evidence, the signature comparison, the timeline. The detective I spoke to had worked financial fraud cases before and didn't seem surprised by any of it. What came out during the investigation was that Dele had been deep in debt himself at the time. A private loan from someone he shouldn't have borrowed from. He'd used my credit identity to open 3 lines of credit, maxed them out, and filed bankruptcy in my name to discharge the debt before anyone could trace it back to him. He used my name to clean up his own mess, then watched me at family dinners for 5 years without a word. The bankruptcy was expunged from my record. My credit was restored. Dale paid restitution and avoided prison by the width of a hair. At Christmas that year, my mother asked why I didn't invite him. I told her what he did. She was quiet for a long time. Then she said, "I always wondered why he could suddenly afford that car."